considerations do have to be made to the and I'll make those considerations for the Asian people who do consume culture and consume content. Um, if the words of Charleston White did offend you, I will say I'm glad this event definitely didn't happen. Now I am in true belief that he wouldn't be coming to the event to say he doesn't like Asian people, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? If it would be considered hate speech if you're just blanketly saying you don't like a race. Now, I'm not here also to sit and analyze, because there's going to be some defenders of Charleston White or some people who just have no horse in the race to say, well, he says stuff about black people all the time. Why doesn't this not happen? And by the way, I will say this. I believe that if Charleston didn't say that, this event happens. So I don't care who was coming. If he doesn't say this about Asian people, I believe 100% the event happens, right? But again, there's a whole bill passed to protect the Asian people, and you have to understand what comes with that. So, they forced the removal of him, and then afterwards, we both agreed that the event is tainted. Like, I didn't have anything for the event anyway. Really, like, I was gonna host. My only part of it was gonna host, because at first it was gonna be a variety show with a bunch of creators. Then I realized, I'm like, well, Charleston's team literally told me that they have a hour-long set. So I said, wait, if you have an hour-long set, okay, this could work in just a comedy show. I'm going to get a special guest and we're going to have about a 2 to 3 hour show. You do, like, I'll be hosting them in the meanwhile. We also do a meet and greet. And what else? And to be honest, which is also the part that might, I don't know, if you're trying to think about this logistically, fuck people up. No matter how horrible people say Charleston White is, after a day of being on sale, the first show was 70% sold out. So there's going to be 2 shows, actually. So there's going to be an early show and a late show. And after the first day, the first show was 70% sold out. So there was clearly people definitely trying to see it. Now, have I thought about were they trying to see him, or just maybe they're just coming because they're chatting? I don't know, bro. But again, I'm not here upset or saying that this isn't the right decision. I think that Charleston White coming to New York City, I think he's later even expressed that he don't like New York at all. Well, he said that before, but he said he'd rather not do the show here. So it is what it is. You get what I mean? So, and I see some of y'all typing in chat. It's not my job to fucking police, like, yo, well, he said this about black women or black men and nobody cares. The point that we should all take from this is that we see this all the time. The Asian conglomerate, they do have some influence and shit. And when the person, I don't want to put their name out, the person at Live Nation is telling my assistant, like, yo, we're getting calls from politicians. I mean, it's grand opening, grand closing. I'm sorry. You get what I mean? And they're like, yo, he just can't perform, right? The event or Live Nation was like, well, you got down to take him off? And we're like, yeah. They're like, well, do you want to still keep the show? No, just cancel the whole thing. Okay? So yeah. Somebody said I am protecting Charleston. I'm not protecting Charleston White. First of all, I'm glad you guys say that. Like, I don't agree with a lot of what he says, but I don't agree with a lot of nobody says. You get what I mean? So this is not a point of trying to agree or trying to. No, like I don't agree with Charleston White dissing Mama Duck. I don't agree with Charleston White dissing King Von. I don't agree with Charleston White doing a lot of things. That's been my position. I've never changed my position. I never said I agree with none of that. Do you understand what I'm saying? I don't. Don't take affiliation or association means you agree with everybody. like if you think I got to sit up here and defend my position about do I agree with all of Charleston White? Charleston White dissed me. I didn't agree with that neither. Listen, I look at Charleston White for what I believe he is online, a character. Does he spew hateful shit? Abso-fucking-lutely. Does he sometimes spew things that people could resonate with? Yeah. Is it on every person to make up your mind and figure out if you want to either entertain him or not? Yes. Do you need academics to tell you what he agrees with him on and what he not? I say it all the time, but I'm not the person here to tell you guys whether to consume his content or not. Some people look at him just like how they look at, unfortunately. Or let me not say unfortunately, because I really don't give a fuck about this. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not standing with no motherfucker, but I'm not also campaigning to hate. I seen a few people who are Asian hit me and say, yo, are you rocking with this? Motherfucker, I'm not rocking with nothing what the nigga says, but I'm also not campaigning against the nigga. So if y'all looking for me to campaign against him, y'all won't see that. You get what I mean? But if y'all looking at me to say I agree with anything he says or all the things, if I do agree with some shit, I say it. A lot of shit he say about gangster rappers, I agree with it. Him dissing dead people, nah. Him saying this about Asian people, absolutely not. It is what it is. You get what I mean? And here's the thing. That's the same with everybody else. That's the same with anybody else that's on my platform or has ever been on my platform. Do I agree with everything that Hassan Campbell has ever said? No. Do I agree with everything that Wack 100 has ever said? No. Do I agree with everything that 6ix9ine has said? No. None of them. If you don't hear me say it and I'm not standing behind it, don't blanketly assume that I agree with it. And again, I'm not sure. Well, he probably has some history of saying some stuff against Asian people, but if there's nothing that I didn't think that the nigga was gonna show up to Gramercy Theater and do anti-Asian content, period. But I do know when he gets upset at one particular person, and from what I understand, he was beefing with one particular person, he starts speaking in generalities, which is, by the way, very harmful. Shit, I've learned that myself because I was talking about one broke, dusty rapper, and I said pioneers, and then people were upset. So I understand what happens when you speak in generalities when you're upset at one particular person. Somebody said I'm folding like crazy. Yeah, well, I mean, you can say whatever you want. Somebody said, if the show wasn't canceled, do I think something would have went down? Are you talking about violence? No, I don't think anything violent would have went down. I don't think violence would have went down. Like, I guess, in hindsight, I've thought, well, how sure are you that the content that he was going to put out wasn't going to be completely hateful that would have, caused other problems? But, what that has kind of made me think okay, well, you should probably check out his stand-up first, right? Because he is touring. He is giving jokes. People seem to enjoy it. But you want to make sure that, especially in the place you are now. Like, for example, I kid you not, if this show is in Charlotte, if this show is anywhere down south, it's going on, happening, right? This is New York City. I keep telling you, New York City is just really different. And of course, because of that, yeah, things are going to be a little bit different, of course. Somebody said, I folded like a deck of cards. I didn't do anything. How do I fold? The venue did not want to have my guest. It's very clear. The guest of my show that was a paid performer, the venue tells me, hey, we're really unsure about this guy, and we're strongly advising you to remove it because we're getting a lot of backlash right now. If that's what's called folding, if I got a spot that I'm renting you and you say you're gonna bring in, I don't know, Hitler, and I say, nigga, Hitler ain't coming in here. Now I'm making extreme correlation, but if I say that, Okay, nigga, like it's either you gonna try to move around or I could just cancel your whole shit. It's my shit. Like that's just what it is. You feel me? Yeah, nah, y'all trolling. So, um, if this show is supposed to happen, it would probably happen down south. By the way, he did a show in Jersey not too long ago. He did a show at the Showboat, which is a casino. He did a show at the Showboat Casino in Atlantic City. It was a sold out show, 700 to 800 people. He was the headliner. There was some other local acts on it, and nobody said anything. Was he talking crazy then? He always talks crazy, but I don't think he particularly said anything. And also, you know what I mean? Again, I'm not trying to like diminish anything about the Asian plight, but like you could say anything about niggas, right? Like you could say the most anything about black people, and it's like, all right, fuck it. Yeah, I think it's like how Kanye felt it. Like, nigga, don't mention those people. And I think with Charleston, he mentioned a group of protected people. That's how it goes. That's just what it is. Like, I mean, I don't know what you guys want to hear. And I see us spamming like, oh, Charleston White, no, China Mac body. That, like, first of all, I know y'all want me to get on my egotistical wave. As I said, this is neither a loss nor a win for me because I was doing all the paying out. Now, if I paid niggas and it's like, well, you can't get your money back, it's whatever. Secondly, I seen China Mac post under No Jumpers thing. He said, I guess everybody's like celebrating that it got canceled. He said, "Yo, man, I wanted to go to the show too." Now, let's be clear, and I'll say this message to China Mac. That's the fake internet threat of violence that you're trying to purport against Charleston White. Here's my thing: the show is canceled, right? But Charleston White is on a public tour. Like, I hate when people online act like they can't find each other, nor do they have access to buses, planes, trains, and Ubers. If you want to go see Charleston White at a show, you don't got to see him at my show. It's canceled. Go catch him at his next show. That's just what it is. So, you don't have to necessarily be like, oh, man, I wanted to catch him at that show. Go on I think he's performing in like a couple of days somewhere else. Go there. You know what I mean? So, buses work, trains work, planes work. There is no reason, and I hate when people start leading with violence because that starts sounding stupid, right? And this is the reason why some of y'all are stuck in y'all train basically looking like y'all running on a treadmill. You get no progress because once y'all start introducing possible threats of violences, there's nobody gonna want you to have y'all on the event neither. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to have an event with a nigga who, whether you were inflicting or if you were causing verbal mayhem or possibly threatening physical mayhem, nobody wants to have any of that. Like, people like just peaceful shit. So if that's a concern of yours, you want to go catch the dude, just stay on his Instagram. He says where he's going to be. That's neither here nor there with me. So, I've seen people say ridiculous things like, you were trying to line him up when he came to New York. What type of ridiculous stuff is that, right? So, yeah. But, for the people who were offended, I hope there should be some happiness here, right? Like, New York is a place that is very inclusive of everybody. And if you were someone who's Asian and you felt like, what the fuck? Like, please don't tell me this nigga's going to get a paycheck in my city after he just dissed my people. You know what I mean? And also, I've told people when it comes to shit like that is like, you don't have the freedom to just go anywhere, right? And do anything, right? Like, for example, I am Jamaican. If I owned all the Jamaican beef patties in the world and you said, fuck Jamaica, nigga, I might tell you can't come to my Jamaican store. Like, it's just kind of like normal and simple. Now, I know you might be like, well, okay, that's a private independent business owner. But as I said, Asians are protected people in America, okay? Asians are protected. The Jewish people are protected. If you a nigga, you asked out. But you need to leave those groups alone. And honestly, I think Charleston, while attacking, I don't know how that beef started, so I don't want to act like I'm choosing sides. while getting that China Mac in however way, he should have kept it to China Mac. But I've learned that lesson too, and it was, I've realized my errors in my way. Yo, if you talking about one particular old dusty rapper, call that old dusty rapper out. So Charleston should have talked about China Mac. And it's kind of interesting though, right? Because I seen some stuff happen with Math Hoffa, and I try to keep out of all of this stuff, right? The Math Hoffa stuff was nowhere even in the radar. They're like, yo, we're only mad at him for doing one thing. I'm like, only one thing? They're like, one thing. I'm like, all right. it's like they listen to whatever happened with like Math Hoffa and they be like, oh, that's nigga shit. All right, back to what we care about though. Get him out of here. Yo, that's what I'm trying to tell you, man. Somebody says it's not China Mac. Is the people like China Mac doesn't represent all Asian people, right? Like I believe, no, not believe he is Asian, but shit, it's very interesting that all ethnic groups usually get people in power to represent anybody who tries to oppress them, and they usually put an end to that. Some things start happening to Asian people, we get a bill. Some things start happening, or someone says something that seems targeted towards Asian people, you're canceled, motherfucker. You say something towards some black people, it's like, well, that's a niggas doing a nigga shit. Anyway, it's fine. And I think I've answered every question, unless y'all got anything to ask. I do want to apologize. I do want to send an apology, though, right? So I do want to apologize to anybody who felt like this was a cosign of somebody spreading hate on Asian people, or even spreading hate, period. I look at Charleston White as a comedic individual. I don't take a lot of the shit he says seriously. But if you did think that, that's an apology for you. I will also give an apology for a lot of people who are buying tickets and scheduling your accommodations. I know my man Traplo Ross was about to try to attend the venue or the event. I know people from LA. I don't want to call out everybody's names, but I'm sorry for you guys if you made any plans, if you booked a flight, if you booked a hotel. I sincerely apologize, and that's where the brunt of my bad feeling about this is, because I understand how much commitment it takes for you to say, I'm going somewhere, especially if you're not even from there. And a lot of people are coming to New York, and I feel horrible. Okay? And by the way, not that this should be the reason that you do still come, because there is an event. That's why I said no event. But I will be having a opening of a second headquarters space in New York. Well, yeah, in New York. That same week, or not weekend, in those same following days. And if you are here and, if you were going to go to an event, I would invite you to the headquarters space to see the new space and to see what we got going on. So, that's just a little consolation price in case you bought a flight or a hotel and you can't get out of it, or they won't give you your money back, or whatever the fuck the case is. If you are in the New York City area, I am going to have a soft grand opening, and I would love for, chat niggas to come there, okay? And yes, it is of the Academy, all right? We're going to be having, some catered shit. I'll be able to, I can't accommodate too many people, but I want to be able to give some people a tour of both our spaces, show them what the vision is for the next year. So, good things are to come. But this was a unfortunate misstep, okay? Somebody says no refund. No. Oh, that's another thing. You will automatically get a refund. So you will automatically get a refund, okay? So if you bought tickets, and I know a lot of people bought what do they call it again? Meet and greet tickets, you automatically would get a refund. This is kind of in a good way, no one's losing out here. All the deposits will be returned. We're all good. By the way, I did have another thought. right? So my headquarters space, I was thinking about possibly just seeing if we could remodel that to do the event there because we have a big space. But then I was thinking about fire marshals and shit like that. Like, how many people could I hold in there? And is it set up for a comedy event? And I was just like, bro, just like, one thing you learn in life is that don't try to fight don't try to fight the wave, bro. You know what I mean? Or pick and choose your battles. So it's all good. All right, we are going to talk about this whole, this is so fucking, all right, are we done with this? Any more questions? Any more questions? This is like a press conference. Any more questions, and then we're going to get into our first topic. There is some conversation about Charlotte. If me and Charleston do an event, it's gonna be a few months from now. It wouldn't be on that date. Okay, it wouldn't be on that date. We're gonna let that date slide. But maybe in September. No. I've been hearing a lot about Charlotte though. Charlotte. Who lives in Charlotte? What the fuck? Does anybody live in Charlotte? Somebody says, I ain't gonna lie, I don't think people in the South don't care about nothing. Yo, I swear, if this was Miami, I don't think they give a fuck neither. Oh, there's some Charlotte people there. Somebody said I should do another New York show, but just make it all streamers. What do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about that? If I do a show in New York and I make it more of a streamers like event where it's like, yo, I don't know, get like a couple popular streamers, hopefully that y'all fuck with, and maybe also personalities, and it's like a variety show. Like, niggas could get on there and do magic tricks, tell jokes, just fuck around with the fans, whatever. Like, who cares? Maybe some shit like that. We'll think about it. Again, I'm just fortunate enough that we're in a place that we could put these things on. Hold on. Yeah, we could put these things in the atmosphere, and we'll see what happens. All right, are we good? Somebody said, "Nah, we need a comedy show." Yeah, I do think I need a comedy show. Somebody said, "W magic tricks." Somebody said, "Sound like a meet and greet event." Yeah, that's why I didn't want it to sound like. Okay. Somebody said Spotify and Twitch says you better apologize. Who the fuck could tell me to apologize? What did I do? I didn't do nothing. Okay. Somebody said, nah, if you do that, nigga, that's like some Drewski shit. Stop. Yo, stop playing. All right, it's going to be a straight comedy show. All right, I'm done. Enough. Let's get on to some topics. Yo, people, this is so fucking hilarious. I've been trying to get to this for 2 days. I kid you not. No, 3 days, actually, right? Bro, so if you don't know what's going on, I've never seen some shit like this before.